32 yards on the ground with no touchdowns and a fumble. The Cowboys running back wasn't any more productive as a receiver out of the backfield either, catching just one pass for 7 yards. So, Shannon, how concerned should the Cowboys be about Zeke's performance?
Skip, they should be very, very concerned. And Skip, and I looked at that so many different angles and the way that Fox was showing it to us, I still don't know how he fumbled that ball. Nobody hit it.
He just lost
He's trying to stretch and the ball just came out. Because I thought somebody kicked it out, somebody punched it out. Because at first I thought his elbow had popped it out. Because that's what he was saying, like my elbow hit. And I'm like, bro, your elbow didn't hit.
Just lost the handle.
Skip, is concerning for on a lot of reasons. Zeke has starting to get a lot of mileage on his body. The 100-yard games, forget the average, the 100-yard games are coming with less frequency. And the ball is starting to come out with greater frequency. He has as many fumbles in 2020 as he had his entire career.
Yep.
And that's not a good thing. That's the one thing you don't want to have happen with a back, Skip.
Yep.
As a back starts to age, the ball starts to coming out. And he's 25. See, I can see if the guy, Zeke is 30 years old. He's Frank Gore's age or something like that. Skip, Zeke is 25.
25.
He should not be having these types of fumbling problems.
By the way, to your point quickly, I watched the first game yesterday, and I'm watching Adrian Peterson.
Yes.
He's still afloat.
Yes.
He's still going. He looked like he was running harder and more effectively than Zeke did in the second game. Go ahead.
His longest run of the day was 8 yards. And he looked like, Skip, that after the bye week, he came off fresh. But the thing is that, Zeke, there are no more bye weeks. You don't run 1 week, get a week off, then run another week. And that's the thing that's starting to concern me, is that it starts to look like he's starting to wear down, that he can't bounce back, like he needs extra time in between. Now, Skip, he might be able to come next week, maybe an extra day. Maybe it was because you played Sunday, played a great game Sunday, and then had to come back Thursday.
Maybe.
And so maybe now, with a full week off, and then you're going to have 10 days off before you play again. So he might bounce back over those. But I don't like what I'm seeing, because I'm starting to see a guy that looks like his body has taken a lot of pounding, and the ball, Skip, is just like a quarterback. Anytime the quarterback gets touched, the ball comes out. That's concerning. Grip strength. It's also concerning when I started to see a running back, when people are not hitting and the ball's starting to come out. It's starting to concern me a little.
I'm not just concerned. I'm back to being horrified. This is the highest paid running back in pro football in total package, $90 million committed to him. And I realize you can do the offensive line excuses. No Ty Smith for all but 2 games. No Lyle Collins for the whole year. No Zach Martin against Washington either time, except for a brief spell yesterday. And yet, Shannon, I keep telling you, eye test. I had a glimmer of hope at Minnesota. To your point, coming off the bye week, he had his first 100-yard game barely of the year. So that's 11 shots, 1 over 100. And yesterday was just flat out pathetic. And I'm horrified because my eye test keeps saying I can't recognize that guy that I saw in 2016 and 17. He was suspended, obviously, for 6 games in 17. Even in 2018, I saw a very different Zeke, because in those 3 years, his yards per game led the National Football League. 109 his rookie year, then 98, then 96. Those will all work. And then he got his money, and a year ago, it fell to 85 yards a game, and now it's all the way down to 64 yards a game. And just to drive this home, his rookie year, he had 14 runs of 20-plus yards. Let's forget about the next year because he was gone for most of it. But then in 2018, he had 11 of 20-plus yards. So he went from 14 to 11. Then last year he had 4, and this year he has 1 total run of 20-plus yards. It's a bad sign. It's trending south. And in what was the game of the year for this team, on a stage that he has owned before, because his rookie year, he jumped in the Salvation Army kettle. That's how great he was. And he dominated. He had 97 yards rushing on Thanksgiving against Washington the first year in 2016. Then it'd be 2 years ago, he had 121 yards against Washington. So he'd had 2 big games against Washington already, and then that happened. And to your point, it's insult to injury because he's fumbling, and he's fumbling at home. He's lost all 5 fumbles at home. So what have I seen from my bad football team this year? Just to your point that you opened the show with, my team with Dak Prescott at quarterback fell behind Atlanta at home 29-10 at halftime. Then fell behind Cleveland 41-14 early in the fourth quarter. Then fell behind the Giants in the second quarter 17-3. Then got run off their home field 38-10 by Kyler and company in Arizona. Then yesterday, it wound up 41-16. Well, help me out. If you have a bell cow back, if you have a lead dog, if you have a back who can impose his will on the visiting team at home, you don't get blown out like this because you establish, you impose your will.
But Skip, Skip, I don't know about you, but I was watching the game yesterday, and I was like, wow, y'all throwing this ball an awful lot early. They came out throwing.
No trust. They just don't trust it because they don't see it. There are too many none-yard runs on first down that puts them in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12.
But I thought you liked Pollard. They didn't even really run Pollard. They almost got trapped again on 4th down, Skip, with Pollard. If Pollard does not make a Houdini-esque play, they're going to get stopped on 4th down there.
Okay, where I first lost my mind yesterday was a play very late in the first quarter. It's like the last play of the first quarter. And Zeke took a little pass and ran for a little bit more, if we could see this. And he came up a yard short of the first down. Do you remember this? Okay, little pass, and he's a yard short. He got tackled very easily. And he gets up and waves to the sideline, I need a blow. I need out. He takes himself out of the game on a little pop pass and an easy tackle. It's 3rd and 1. Isn't this where our man Eric Dickerson says, I want the football?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't this where Jim Brown or Walter Payton?
You should want the football. You should, oh, it's 31. Oh, they're going to come to me.
3rd and 1, it's my turn.
Yeah, it's my time. Let me go get this first.
This is my down.
Right.
I own this down. Yeah. He waves to the sideline and takes himself out. How many times have we seen that over the last 2 years? Way too many times. So he leaves Tony Pollard to rush onto the field. I'm in. Yeah, you're in, and we're calling your number. And Tony Pollard made an extraordinary run because he goes up into the line and hits a stone wall and bounces it and had to run like 20 yards to get 1 yard and cut it up right at the marker and made it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Zeke. Then we get to 4th and 1 at the 35-yard line, right?
Yeah.
And this is a turning point in the game. It's still a tie game. And what happens on that play? They don't go to Zeke. And it shows you they don't trust him. Yeah. And what did, I'm sorry, wasn't it the 35, but it started in the playoff game, remember?
Yeah.
2 years ago out here,
Yeah.
it was 4th and 1. That was from the Rams' 35-yard line. And remember, there was a quarter break because it went to the fourth quarter, and they had a whole 5 minutes to figure out what are we going to do to get the yard.
Right.
It's against Aaron Donald, and at that point, Ndamukong Suh, because they were the 2 tackles, and the Rams. This is a crucial moment in the game. They're still in the game, and they run Zeke right up the gut. There was no creativity. They just said, you do it. Run through the brick wall, and he got 0, right? And that started the fall of Ezekiel Elliott. So to me, Jerry Jones today has to be sitting back once again saying, man, I think I blew it. I think I way overpaid him because we're paying this man $15 million a year to be what? He's 17th ranked now in yards per game. He's 32nd among running backs in yards per play. Well, it's not good enough if you're paying him $90 million.
Well, Skip, I don't really know what they can do. I mean, if they cut him, that's 24. If they cut him after the season, that's $24.5 million in dead cap, 10.8 in 2022, 6.7 in 2023.
Okay.
So what do? You invite him in and say, Zeke, we need you to take a reduction?
That's what you're going to have to do because there's that accelerator clause next March, which actually guarantees 2022, 16 more million.
That ain't happening.
And they can't do it.
No, that's not happening.
But at some point, you might have to just sit back and say, we just got to cut our loss. We got to figure this out.
You just got to bite
this bullet because I don't know where you're going because you could save some. If you cut him after the season, I'm talking about cutting him loose, you're going to take that big hit.
Yes.
But aren't you going to take an even bigger hit if you keep getting this lack of production from him?
I don't think you can. I'm not gonna say anything because we've seen teams cut. If they want you up out of there, they'll eat that. They'll eat that money.
They will eat.
Here's the thing. This is all I'm gonna say to Zeke. Zeke, I don't know what you do. I don't know how serious you take your training. I don't know how serious you take your eating or whatever you're doing. But bro, whatever you're doing is not working. And as you age, Skip, we got to be more. I'm not saying you got to train harder. You got to train smarter. But for whatever reason, Zeke does not look like the same guy. If Zeke was 30, I could get it at the running back position, but not at 25. Not at 25.
At 25, you can't turn from halfback into fullback.
No.
And he looks like a fullback now.
Skip, as a matter of fact, they on 3rd and 1, they put him at the fullback and handed the ball to him. I'm like, well, who is that? And then he gets up off the ground. I said, that's Zeke.
Yeah, and it worked, actually.
I'm like, oh, Skip.
Because he didn't have as far to go to hit the hole.
Let that sink in. You think they would have ever put Emmitt Smith at fullback and put Sherman Williams at running back? No. Hell no.
No.
So that should, Zeke, that should tell you, bruh.
This is really scary.
It is.
He's now averaging 61 yards a game at home. He's been much worse at home than even on the road. So I don't get it. I will give him this. I thought his weight looked a little better yesterday. He looked a little sleeker, but he does not look quicker.
No.
Well, I agree with both of you. It is a bit concerning the way that Zeke is trending down. But let's go back to the MVP matchup this